Hi there, it's Donna from Tuffy Crafting. It's all very quiet in the house at the moment, so I end up feeling like I'm whispering. I've got an interlocking gatefold card today. Quite straightforward to make. It does help if you've got the layering square dies, but if you haven't and you've got a good craft knife and a ruler, absolutely no reason why you couldn't make this without dies. Great card, simple card, gets your DSP used up. Trying to get DSP used up at the moment because we've got a new catalogue coming out in a few weeks' time. Let me show you how to do this. One piece of A4 cardstock will make two of these, and you can make two very, very quickly. So for this one, I've used the Forever Greenery DSP. Absolutely love this paper. Just really gorgeous colours. It's got lots of greens in there with the shaded spruce and old olive. And I've used old olive card here. The stamp set that I've used, this one is from the Happiest of Birthdays stamp set. Love that. And then this front one uses, this is the stamp that kind of coordinates with this DSP, and I've used To a Friend That Makes Me Smile. I use that a lot, that sentiment. I really, really like that sentiment. With the next card that I'm going to show you, same concept, same design of card, just a little bit of extra layering. So let's start with, I've got Whisper White. You can use whatever colours you like for this. So I had a piece of A4 paper, A4 card rather, which is 8 1/4, if you're UK A4 cardstock, 8 1/4 by 11 and roughly a half. It's never exact. So I've just sliced it down the short side at 4 1/8. So that's made that card, but it needs to be trimmed down to 11 inches just to make your measurements a little bit easier. And then you're going to score at each end at 2 3/4. You can use your paper trimmer for that or your scoreboard. So 2 3/4, flip it, and then 2 3/4. I've pre-cut everything else just to save a little bit of time. I've got two pieces. This is shaded spruce because it goes with this paper. So the shaded spruce is a much darker green, and that's what these leaves are. So this measures 2 5/8 by 4 inches, and then the DSP measures 2 1/2 by 3 7/8. And I've cut it so that if you put the both together like that, it forms one image. I don't really think it makes a great deal of difference, but if you had a different pattern, maybe a more symmetrical pattern, you would want that to match, but not entirely necessary. So I'm just going to stick those two down, trying to keep them in the right order. So I mentioned just now that we have a new catalogue. I've got some catalogues on the way to me. If you are in the UK, France, Germany, Austria or Holland, and you are a non-demonstrator who's interested in shopping with me, then give me a shout and I can pop one in the mail to you. If you're UK and you're local to me, I'll happily drop it round. There'll be a blog post that goes with this project and all of the product details will be on there. So bear in mind this DSP will be retiring, and actually the layering squares that I'm using today, the layering squares dies are retiring as well, which is really sad. So let me know if you'd like a copy of our new catalogue. And very soon I'll be sharing some details with you about how you can join Stampin' Up and all the benefits of joining Stampin' Up. It's an amazing community, really, really amazing community. Anyway, so I've got those. I'm trying to keep them in the right order. So what we've got here is a score line here at 2 3/4, and then a score line here 2 3/4 in, and I'm just going to fold those in and burnish them. If I can find my bone folder under something. So if you've been nice and accurate on your scoring, unlike me, that would meet in the middle. I never seem to be able to score accurately. I just rush, I think. So be careful with your scoring. And I'm going to stick those on there like that. Let's get those on. Liquid glue, always the glue of choice for me with panels. Just means that I can get them stuck down and wiggle just to make sure that it's in place correctly. So each layer is 1/8 of an inch smaller. I prefer that type of layering, but sometimes I'll have 1/4 of an inch smaller. It's purely preference. Okay, so that is the basis of our card. That gives us a fairly standard gatefold card. Just really want to get a nice crisp burnish on that fold so that it sits flat. So the next bit that we're going to do is this interlocking bit. So with some shaded spruce card, this is what I've prepared, and I've got 2 dies. So let me show you, in the layering squares dies, this is what you get: 8 scalloped edge squares and 8 plain edge squares. A really great tool to have in your craft stash. So what I've done is, so the bigger square is the scalloped edge, and then to create that frame, which is what I've got there, I've just put that in my die cutting machine. So if we go with that, and then very carefully place that in there, and then just got 2 post-it notes. So once it's level and you've got an even space all the way round, move it by putting your post-it note down. Yeah, line it up. Oh, I'm just all jittery tonight. Line it up, and the other post-it note's gone, and then put it through the die cutting machine. And you get that. But that comes out as well. So we're going to use that. But the other thing that we do also with that smaller square die is that we cut out a piece of white card. And we'll use that to stick on the back of that, just to give that panel a bit of strength. Now what I want to do is stamp on this middle panel, and I've got some shaded spruce ink. I had some shaded spruce ink. Right, I'm going to go and find my shaded spruce ink, which has just disappeared. Here's my shaded spruce ink. And I've got my "To a Friend That Makes Me Smile" stamp. And what I want to do is just get my little mat that I use. This comes out of my Stamparatus. It just gives me an even layer underneath. There we go, lovely deep green colour that is. Just put that over there and let that dry off. And the other thing that I'm going to do is stamp a sentiment inside. And I'm going to be using the It's Your Day, Enjoy It sentiments from Happiest of Birthdays. Okay, and then just get that in the centre. And I think with these two sentiments, it doesn't have to be a birthday card. It can be anything. Okay, let's get this ink out of the way before I go and shove my hand in it. Now the next thing we're going to do is to stick our frame onto the front of our card here. So just while that's drying off there, just get some glue, whatever glue you want. I find liquid glue for this job is far better. Why won't that come out? Is far better because you will want some room to move it. Unless you're super confident about putting things down like that. It's up to you. So just on one side, on the back, just on one side, on one half. Hold that down. And halfway over or in the centre of your card, and then you've just got a few seconds to get that in the right spot. Yeah, I'm happy with that. And then press it down. And there we go. Now for this, before we put this on, I would seriously suggest that you let that dry off a little bit. So I'm just going to let that dry. I let that dry for about a minute. The thing about liquid glue, it does go off quite quickly, or our Tombow does anyway. Now to put this on, just going to close the card up, and that square fits right in the middle of that. It will do because that's what we die cut it. So what we're going to do on the back of this square is put some glue just on that half there on the back, stick it down, and then we'll be able to take the frame away. So always make sure that you've got it on the right side. Just a little bit of doubt came in my mind then, and then get it into that square. I've got a little bit of sticky on my hand, and then hold that down. And there we go. Now, just before we finish, what I've got is, that was the waste out of when I die cut the frame, and I'm just going to stick that on the back there. Now, it's not the best colour, and actually what you might want to do is maybe cut it out in white, but to be honest, you've got that on the back as well. I don't really think it makes a lot of difference. I'm just going to go with that green for now, but if you wanted to do white, that is absolutely your preference. Let's get some glue on that. So you can put glue over all of this. And then, oh, I've got a little bit of sticky on my finger. And then just place that over that square. And push it down. Oops, you see that moving. We'll just let that go off. There we go, that is that finished. So if we close it, that then interlocks like that, and it has to fit because that was the square that came out of the die cut. So we've got one card there in Shaded Spruce, and then I've got another one here in Old Olive. This one has a little bit more layering going on. Let's get that out of the way. That has a little bit more layering going on. They sit quite nicely on a shelf, even slightly interlocked. They sit. I think they're just a really lovely pair of cards made quite quickly. And if you haven't got the dies, what you can do is maybe draw around a square and then get another square in there, and then using a craft knife cut it out, or with some very sharp scissors. So it's not that it's not doable. So thank you for joining me. If you've liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you would like to see more videos in the future. I'm just celebrating 2,000 subscribers at the moment, so I'd love to have some more subscribers. There'll be a blog post that goes with this in the description bar, and I'll be back again soon. Bye bye.